first reader we have today is Adam Amjadi, who wrote a poem called Horses and Jockeys. This poem was, I think, really instrumental to the way we thought of the rest of the sort of essays we were choosing, specifically in regards to the theme that we ended up deciding on. Adam is a fourth-year student majoring in English with an emphasis in creative writing. Please round of applause.
If you don't mind, I have a few words to say about the poem. I'd like to thank everyone for coming and for all the effort that you all put into the History Journal. It means a lot. This poem is based on a conversation that I had with my grandfather last summer in Turkey. Turkey, as some of you may know, is going through a period of political and economic turmoil. Certain things like poverty, income inequality, its underlying political hegemony, they're becoming harder and harder to ignore. And I went there to visit last semester, and I couldn't help but feel, after spending 4 years not visiting them because of the pandemic, I looked at the society and the people a little bit differently. I felt a bit more conscientious. I couldn't really, a lot of my childhood innocence was kind of gone. And you see the parallels, or the parallel infrastructure that exists for the rich as opposed to the poor. It's like two separate worlds, and it reminded me a lot of America, actually. It's a very nice coincidence that the themes matched up with a lot of the other essays, which I will be reading after this because they really caught my attention. Without further ado, here's Horses and Jockeys.
Adam, could I ask you to stand near the poster just so everybody can see?
Oh, stand near the poster? Of course,
Yeah.
sorry. Without further ado. Antalya, Turkey, 2023. The sun was proud and high on that hot summer's day. The Mediterranean danced for us outside our window while the earth baked lazily and hardened in the heat. To our left was an empty lot where poor Turks and refugees would rummage through dumpsters, looking for empty cans and bottles, looking for something to carry off in their giant wheeled hampers, like beasts of burden, that might earn them a few lira for their next meal. To our right was a long stretch of road, of stores and malls, where only tourists can afford to shop these days, of extravagant hotels and water parks, playgrounds for wealthy visitors, sheltered from the bad and bound to the good until they've had their fun. They can go home, after all, and so can I, to the States. But for the Turks and the immigrants, this is home. My grandfather Ataman and I spoke at the kitchen table that day of dead men, George Orwell, Jack London, Mark Twain, men who traveled the world, men whose words still linger in the world of the living, men who, though they were flawed and guilty of many things, tried to make the world a better place, men who saw the oppression, the futility, the strife, and put ink to paper because in their hearts they wanted it to end. Yes, this is all true, he said, but despite these men's best efforts, nothing in the world has really changed. I nodded thoughtfully and tried to digest his words. Nothing in the world has really changed. But something was wrong. Something was off. The words just wouldn't sit right with me. A nagging question in my head. How are things supposed to change with that attitude? Then he told me that there are two kinds of people in the world, horses and jockeys. That the horses always carry the jockeys, that many don't mind their subservience, and the ones that do are always kept in their place because the jockeys are too clever to be defeated, because they know what's at stake if they lose, because they'll do anything to protect their lives of comfort and ease. This is why you and Justin must do whatever is in your power to be jockeys, he told me. It would appear that age, experience, and a keen eye had rendered the old Turk a cynic. I can't say I blame him. I looked at my grandfather then and saw a man who prospered in his time, one whose father died when he was on the cusp of manhood, one who married young and had a family to support, one who'd learned the ins, outs, ebbs and flows of industry, so his kids wouldn't grow up poor as his wife had, one whose firstborn left her Vatan, her homeland, chasing her love across the ocean. One who supports himself these days is the landlord of an auto repair shop. One who'd spent decades waiting for a change, a shift, a crawl towards consciousness, waiting for Turkey's comatose masses to spring back to life, gasping for air, pounding their fists into the walls with brute strength and joyous pride, waiting for the sheep to stop grazing and set fire to the field, waiting for the horses to finally throw off the jockeys once and for all. Ah, if only, keşke, keşke. Yes, we are all horses and jockeys, and we continue, demented and tired, on our shared circuit, trotting, jumping, riding, racing around on the same old track day after day. The cycle abides, and so do we. Round, round, and round we go, running, chasing one another. Nobody's keeping score. Nobody wins. And at last we collapse into the dirt, some of us no wiser than we started off. The same nagging question, worded differently. How can we change? It isn't up to any one of us to find the answer. It's up to all of us. The vagabond rock stars and the naked lunatic poets, the women who clean toilets in schools, the children who stare at clouds and caterpillars, the dancers twirling in the rain, the farmhands sweating while they till the ground, the presidents and the beggars, the horses, the jockeys, and the spectators, don't forget them, watching from the seats by the track. Here's to finding the answers. A toast to my grandfather in his mother tongue. Sherefe Ataman, Sherefe. Thank you.